Hello everyone, welcome back. I do hope that you've been having fun with this cat and enjoying the beautiful blending qualities that Pastelmat allows one to do on its subject. So we shall continue today. We're probably going to finish it today. Might need one more. We shall just see how it goes. I'm just going to lay down some paper towel purely because I have cream on my hands and I do not want to end up with finger marks on here. I'm just blending out and putting in a very, very light, extremely light. I mean, you can probably hardly even see it with this sponge. Just going in there ever so slightly because that is a very, very thin line, the same as on that side. Just softening some of the hairs I've put down for the fur. Just softening it in certain areas. You can decide exactly where you want to do that. And now you can see that I'm just putting in a few, or not a few, I'm putting in shadow there. I'm pretty sure that you can see that is darker obviously than what the paper is, just to give it a bit of a background before we go in and start putting in those sort of whiter hairs in that background. Okay, all the way down and around here, just busy filling in just a very, very light tone with what is on my well, this is not really, this is the soft tool handle. You can see here it says soft, but these are from Temu. They're very, very cheap and they work well. You can see that this one has perished. Probably do need to change it. Let me do that now while I'm thinking about it. This one seems to be okay. I must just be careful what I end up putting on it. Maybe I should use another one. I end up putting on it because the last thing that one wants is that I'm putting on another medium and not charcoal, you know. So I just want to get this in here because you can see here that this is very, very grey, this whole area. There's a big grey area here. And I'm going into the back here where there is, this is quite dark. This area here. I don't think this is part of the cat, although it could be. So I'm just going to blend that in on the side there and take this all the way out. In fact, I doubt that we will be able to finish this in this lesson today, but we will certainly get quite far with it. We'll certainly be on the last sort of stretch once we have finished with this. I'm not 100% keen with this. This just does not look organic at all. So I'll probably go back over that, and this area here doesn't look correct. I haven't got that line right. So I'll go back over that. This is what is so fabulous with charcoal and graphite, is that you can pull it out, put it back in, and carry on to your heart's content as many times as you like, because it's really, really so forgiving. So you can see I'm going in the direction of the fur. This bottom here is very, very scraggly indeed, and we shall work that out when we get there. But all I'm doing is just putting in some background here in this whole area, just so that we can pull out some of those white highlights. And here you can see that it's dark here as well at the back. Not sure if that is the cat, if that is part of the cat or not, but certainly probably best to do that, because then you've got quite a nice contrast going on. Right, so this is fairly white, that's fairly highlighted, these pieces above the eye, below the nose, this whole area of the mouth, this whole area is very, very white indeed. Although we have put in quite a bit of charcoal. Whoops, there you can see a piece came off. We will be pulling that out with the Tombow to get that. I'm going to put in just a little bit of charcoal in here, just so that we can get that a bit darker. You can see that I'm using the side of it, just so that I don't lay down a pointy, rough sort of edge, and then I can't blend it out nicely. So I'm just laying that down, and again I'm going in the direction of the fur, and so we just blend that out like that. And you can see that we already have that effect of fur because of the way that I have gently laid that down. So that's pretty good. This part here is quite dark. I do jump. I have told you that already. I do jump from one section of the picture to the other. It is just the way I work. You work the way you want to work. You can watch this to the very, very end and then decide how you want to tackle it. It's up to every individual, but this is how I work. I'm getting down to the nuts and bolts of the cat, so I want to make sure that I get all these very, very dark tones down, and that especially the eyes, that the eyes pop. You can see I'm putting in a little bit of detail there. I want these eyes to pop out completely, so that that is what the viewer sees first, and then the eyes go around the rest of the cat. There we go. There's a mark there that I've left out, and there is a darker mark here that I've left out above the nose. And then I just want to go in here and deepen this whole area. You can see that there is a definite stripe and shape that goes up there. So I want to get that in. And I'm laying it down. You can see I'm laying it down quite dark. And I'm doing this on purpose, because we want those markings that this cat has got to really stand out. There we go. That looks much, much better. Immediately gives the cat nice definition and carry the character of the animal. Don't be frightened to go where the darks are, to darken it a lot. It's the biggest mistake that people make, is that they don't get their darks dark enough, and it kind of lacks a bit of, I just want to take this out. This is not as thick as what I have made it, so I just want to take that out. So I'm using my Tombow precision eraser, and I just want to get that. So turn it around and around and around. It does pull a lot of charcoal off, especially that I have laid down too much there. I just want to go back into here. This is bothering me. There we go. That looks better, and that is a definite mark here. We can go in with our blender and blend that out. we go, that looks a bit better. This area here I don't like. See if I can lift it. Let's see what happens. Nope. So this, you can see I have laid down far too much, and this is what happens. You saturate the paper and then you can't lift off, you know, what you've laid down. So this is where one needs to be very careful. So now I've taken out as much as I can of it, and now I'm going to put in from the side of the pencil just that little bit of, that looks better, little bit of shadow that's in here. And then I want to get this right. This goes up into there. There we go. That comes here and it comes down into, sorry if I'm mumbling, I'm concentrating. Goes down in there. There we go. That looks better. That looks much better. And this area here, I just want to blend this out because it's not absolute dots like that. It's just the way that the fur moves, or the way that the fur is sitting. There we go, that's better. Much better. Right, a lot happier with that area. And if we go on the side here, so first clean off your Tombow eraser and make sure that you don't have any charcoal on it whatsoever, because now we are going to go in here and we're going to lift out these little tiny hairs that go down towards his mouth. Hers, I'm not sure if this is a male or a female cat, but we just want to get that in, and then we just want to take that little bit out there, goes up into there, and then there's a mark here that we need to take out. Goes down like that. There we go. That looks good. So don't be tempted to do what I was about to do now, which is push your finger over where you have rubbed out. Just lift out a bit of the mouth. If you have put in as much on the mouth as I have, just try lifting it out ever so slightly, just to lighten it and give it that mottled effect that you can see on the picture. There we go. Right. Just lifting off the bits of eraser that are still sitting on there. There's a piece there. I just want to get rid of. There we go. Right. So that's looking good. We want the fur hairline, and we have, or should I say, we want the direction of the fur. We want to be able to do that, and we have done that. So that is great. I'm just going to blur this out a little bit over here. This is very blurred. I'm just going to blur that out into the, yeah. There we go. Okay. And we have this whole area here. If we start lifting out, we'll be able to see if we've laid down enough. So I'm going to start up here and just see what it, oops, I've got far too much of the razor sitting on the end of it. I'm just pulling it off with my nail. There we go. You don't want the wibbly wobbly happening there. So let's have a look and see. Let's take it up and into the black, not the other way around, because you'll drag the black down into the light area, and you don't want to be doing that. So we're just going to pull this up. Turn your eraser as you do it, so that you don't pull the black down into the light area. I'm just going to go in and just give it a little bit of detail, just so that the brain does pick up that that is hair. go. The one thing I love about charcoal on this paper, I'll keep on and on and on about it, but the textures that you get just from laying down just a little bit, and the detail is just absolutely phenomenal. So don't be frightened of it. I know I do say to you, don't put down too much, because you want to be able to lift it, and you really do. But also at the same time, once you have experimented, then you should have an idea of, you know, how heavy or how lightly one puts it down, and just blend it out ever so slightly so that you don't have a hard line. Just putting some more down here just to get that a bit more organic. There we go. There's a bit of a shadow across the top of the eye, so I just want to pull that out. Goes into here. This here is quite dark all the way in, not too much of a highlight happening there, so that we can do. Right, I think it's looking pretty good. I'm going to pull this up and down because this is actually quite a scraggy little mouth. We do want to get that effect. It does create a lot of debris on the Pastelmat, because obviously it is a sanded paper, so it does create quite a bit of debris. Just going in here just to soften that out. There we go. Goes down here. Okay, I think it's looking pretty good. The side here, I just want to put in some of these shadows, and then we can start pulling out the actual white hairs. Soften it ever so slightly because it is a shadow, it's not the hair that is creating that, so we just want to soften it. And then we're going to remove some of the, you might have to go over it a few times because remember we are on light grey Pastelmat, and so it may not show. I was actually wondering if I shouldn't put a darker background down so that that shows up lighter. So we can have a look at that. I do have charcoal powder. If you sharpen or if you sand one of your pencils to a point, you can actually use that. I do have some of that here. This is from the pencil that I'm using, so we can actually give it a bash and see what happens, because I see that there it is darker in the background anyway, and that will probably help. So you can see it goes on very, very dark, so be very, very careful. I am using a brush to put it on because it's just easier. But do be careful when you pick it up out of your little pot and you lay it on or down, that you don't end up with a big bunch of it like I have. I'm going to have to fix that now, which is a little bit annoying considering how far we've got with this kitty. So do be careful, as I say. And you can see that I'm getting big blobs on here, which is not really what I'm looking for. So let's have a look and see. Let's go back to our blending stump. Nope. So do be careful when you lay this down, because now I'm having to lift it up or lift it off. And it isn't always the right sort of process, obviously. Apologies for my hand being in the way. I'm now trying to do it so that you can see what I'm doing. And I'm lifting it off, and then I am turning the kneaded eraser and lifting it off as much as I can. We will be able to save this. This is not a total failure. However, not really what I wanted to show you at all. So if you are watching, beware of what I have just done now. Don't make the same mistake. That's what I have just done, because as I said, it is quite difficult to sort out once it has been laid down. The one thing about Pastelmat is that it does grip the charcoal quite a bit. So just want to make sure. You can't really use cotton wool on here to blend like you can on other paper, because obviously with the grit that the paper has, it will probably, well, it does, it just goes into a big fluff ball. So that is my, well, it might not be too bad. Might not be too bad. Just want to see if I can lift out these white bits now. Yeah, I can. So that's not too bad at all. So it is making a bit of a difference. And the cat is standing out. Well, those hairs are definitely looking a bit better and standing out. But I'm not happy at all with what has happened there. Especially this area here. This area here is not great. I'm going to take my hard rubber and see if I can gently rub it off. I've got to be careful that I don't get all kinds of funny marks and stuff from the direction that I'm using with the eraser. So that is lifting it, and that is looking a whole lot better. But all that it means is that I have taken out those hairs with the Tombow, and we'll probably have to do it again, which is fine. Right, so I have a bigger piece of eraser, which I'm going to use to lift all of this out, and I might even actually have a look at a white pastel pencil for these areas. And nothing wrong with that. If you have to improvise, you improvise. So one of the greatest things with drawing is, well, not just with drawing, but with anything, is to be able to improvise. So now I'm just being very, very careful and just laying down a very, very light, subtle. I can't say that I'm happy with the way that this brush is putting this on. So I'm going to use a sponge and just see if that is not better, and it is. I'm going to tip this into this lid so that I can get the sponge in there nicely, or onto the, you don't want a lot at a time, you just want a little bit, and you just want to go round and round in circles, and gently, gently, gently get get it in all over the place. You also don't want the same, sorry, my bracelet is irritating me because it's chung 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 against the other metal one, so I must just sort that out in a minute. So you don't want a completely flat background. If you are putting a background in, you want one of interest. I'm going to see if I can blend this out a little bit more. This is worrying me terribly because of what I've done here. There we go. You want it varied so it isn't flat. You can even see here in this photograph, it isn't, the background is not flat. You just want it for a little bit of difference and, well, so it isn't boring. I'm taking it right down to the cat. You can see that I'm slowly working it all the way down, right down to, because if I had thought about this, one should really have put the background in first, but that's also okay. I'm going to lift a little bit of this out, so I don't like it. And this is what you can be doing as you go along. It's a great learning, putting in a background. I can just gently blend it. There we go. Bring it down to the, right down to the fur, so it doesn't look like it's stuck on or that there's a halo around the cat. There we go. Start up here. It doesn't matter if the corners are darker. Take it over the edge of what you have marked out of your A4, so that when you frame it, you don't end up with paper that hasn't got any medium on it. So just take it ever so slightly over the edge of the marking that you have made. My picture's moving as I'm doing this. There we go. Quickly take it all the way over, all the way down. Just want to take it down the sides as well. So my corners are there, I can see. So if I bring this down, and once it's framed, it will definitely all be covered. And you can see that I haven't been too particular here along the side. You just want a bit more of a background, a bit more of a tonal value in the background, so that we can get all those hairs, those white hairs that this cat has got. This is very, very dark down here, so hence my adding some more. I'm taking it up into this area. Okay, so just straightening that out, neatening it up just a little bit so it doesn't look so higgledy-biggledy. And I'm just going to add a bit more in here just so that it actually looks like something and not just round little circles of whatever. So it looks like it's meant to be. I'm going to take the, going to tap this back in. In fact, let's have a look around down here, because this area could actually do with a whole lot of charcoal, just to make it go a little bit faster. So this is what you would do with the pastel painting. Just lay down a dark undercolor and then work on top of it. So I'm doing this here for the cat so that we have, it's quite a large area for detail, and you don't want to detract too much from the actual focal point, which is the eyes and the face. So I'm just going to get that in there. Take it off the edge, take it right out over the edge. So we have some really nice dark areas here that we can work with. And again, you can see that I'm going in the direction of the fur, and I mean this fur, the bottom of this cat's chin is all over the place. It is gorgeous. So we're going to try and get a likeness to that. We're not going to do too much detail at this stage. I don't think that we will, but still nice to get all of that some of that really unbelievable detail of all that fur at the bottom there. Sorry, I'm just having a look at, forgive me. I'm trying to do this and talk about the area. And what I'm doing here is I'm focusing on those very, very dark areas of the fur that you can see, as well as making sure that I am going in the direction of the actual fur itself. So then sometimes when I'm focusing and concentrating like that, I can't talk at the same time. Which is just one of the fun things of recording and drawing at the same time. Okay, so I think that looks quite amazing, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to step back from this and take a look at it and decide whether in fact it even needs any more, because sometimes less is more. Sorry, I just want to get rid of that because that is just a little bit too dark. That's what I lost my focus on, was that area there. Just want to get that. Okay. Because once we put the whiskers in on here, I promise you, it completes it and it just changes it in a jiffy like you cannot believe. And I'm really liking these marks that I'm getting. But putting this powder down. I mean, that looks quite awesome. It really looks quite amazing, I think. We have a dark area there. I think I still have some more of this in here. Yes, I do. I can just pick that up. Can go like that, and we can go like this. We can go over here. Get that wild, all those hairs going all over the place in very, very scruffy direction. Okay. Okay, I think that is probably it for today. We can continue with it in the next lesson and complete it. But I do hope that you have enjoyed this and that you are enjoying your you know, what you have produced as well, and that you like it, because the most important thing is that you like it. That's more important than anything else. I just want to put this in here because this is definitely part of the character has joined up on that side, and then here. And the thing is to have a bit of artistic license in allowing yourself to put in some of these hairs. Just gives it character. And we've got, this goes there. We've got that up there, leading up to his mouth, and then we have this very, very dark area here. That goes up there towards that whisker. We've got tons and tons of all of these hairs that are higgledy-piggledy at the bottom. And I just want to make sure that I've got the correct place, because of course now we've lost all our marks, and I do. So this is very, doing this area here, this is where I am. And then we've got this that goes across and all over the place over there. So we just need to, I think in the next one we will actually put in just a little of the detail, just to finish him off. But I mean, he is just gorgeous. There we go. He is just absolutely gorgeous. It's going to darken this area here because that is, from what I can see, that is part of him. And there's a lot of black fur coming off of there. We can just blend that out, fuzzy it out. There we go. Okay, so we're going to, I would like to get the effect of these white hairs that are coming off of, that are in, should I say, around the outside or the edge of the cat. I do want to get those in, so I'm going to make that ever so slightly darker so that when we come to pull it out, it will have the effect that I'm looking for. So there we go. Just going to lift out some of these. If you don't like them, lift them out as much as you can. They are just detracting from the actual cat itself, which is not a good thing. So just lift it out. Doesn't matter if it goes lighter. You've still got your background where we want it, which is around the cat. But do lift it out if it's not your thing and you don't like it, and you just know for future that it's not what you will be doing. Simple as that. So I have been known to wash a drawing off of Pastelmat. Nothing much really stops me from experimenting and doing what I want to do. And I literally took a piece of Pastelmat, put it in a basin, and scrubbed it off very, very gently with a nail brush. And it worked like a bomb. I still had a bit of an underpainting because pastel is very, very highly pigmented, but it was an underpainting. I could do another one over it. So that was great. So don't get too hung up on anything that you do on Pastelmat, because you can remove it. So I'm busy removing this here because it is detracting from the cat face, and basically I want the cat face to be the main objective, the main focus, everything here. This is still bothering me badly. That's something I should not have done, just straight off onto the Pastelmat. One thing I want to say to you, which I don't think I did at the beginning, is always have a small piece available for you to try things out on, because that is what I should have done. Okay, now I'm just taking a hake brush and gently removing these bits of debris from the rubber, from the eraser. There you can see it's much, much better. It's not those funny little things. It actually looks like nothing much now, which is much, much better, and the cat actually stands out a lot better. So I do hope that you have enjoyed this. I do hope that you have learnt a lot from it, because that is the most important thing. And as I'm looking at it, we do need to sort out these ears because they're kind of lost. We need to get this white bit in here, and I might go to a white pastel pencil. If I don't need to, I'm not going to, but you just never ever know. Now this is something that annoys me. I want to show you with Pastelmat, sometimes the paper is damaged when you get it, and you don't see it until you've actually drawn on it. And you can see, I don't know if you can see in the picture, I'm going to try and hold it up without losing focus, but right here, so just trying to see, I have got my Mac mirrored to my phone so I can see what I'm doing. But this here, I know it's very, very pale, and you're probably wondering what on earth I'm complaining about, but I can see it, that line, and it is not great at all, because basically you can't get the material, the charcoal or the pastel for that matter, to go into it, unless you really work on it and push the pastel or the charcoal right into it so that that disappears. And I'm not a fan of doing that, because we shouldn't have to. We pay a lot of money for this, and it should not be damaged in that way. But there you can see that I've managed to get rid of most of it by rubbing it into there. Right, everybody, that's the end of this tutorial, and in the next one, as I said, we'll finish the cat. Do have a lovely, lovely day. Bye bye.